Portland is burning to the ground.
Yep, Portland's on fire again because apparently burning your own city is the new recycling. And the judge just told Trump he can't send the National Guard because law and order is offensive now.
That have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them.
Yep, Portland's on fire again because apparently burning your own city is the new recycling. And the judge just told Trump he can't send the National Guard because law and order is offensive now.
That's what's called cooperation.
In Memphis, a Republican governor and a Democrat mayor actually worked together. CNN called it a glitch in the matrix.
You've conquered raging oceans and brave ferocious storms. The American sailor never quits, never fails, and never ever lets us down.
Trump spent his weekend on the warship, celebrating 250 years of the Navy while Washington's still drowning in drama. 250 years of strength, and the left still struggling to stay afloat.
A real caution, too, from Secretary of State Marco Rubio about the work that could remain ahead in Phase 2, particularly if Hamas does not decide to disarm, that the real challenges could come even after the hostages are released.
Hamas says they're ready for peace. Sure, right after they reload. America's burning, the world's pretending, and Coco News is still sitting here telling the truth, somehow not on fire yet. Hit subscribe before someone realizes that.
Andy, welcome back, because mornings are supposed to be better with friends, unless your city's on fire. Over anywhere. Walking his plan to deploy the National Guard to Portland even as anti-ICE protesters kept turning downtown into a demolition derby. The grocer is leaving day, Che, with the scoop. So here's the deal. This arrogant judge spent a whole weekend tossing roadblocks at Trump, first saying arrogant asshole get calling to help, then slamming the door on backup from California and Texas. Now Trump's done playing nice. He's saying enough is enough. And yeah, he's furious about it.
Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists, the governor, the mayor, the politicians are petrified for their lives. And you have a judge like that, that judge ought to be a king of them.
So, California's Gavin Newsom was in a great mood this weekend because apparently, broken law enforcement is now something to celebrate. He jumped on Kisapuru Brad the judge had granted his emergency restraining order, stopping Trump from sending the National Guard anywhere near Oregon. And he called it a victory against abuse of power. Yeah, because when cities burn, stopping help is apparently democracy. Then came Stephen Miller, the White House bulldog who fired by Anlan. There's no more legal difference, he wrote, between sending their troops to the border and sending them to protect our federal facility. He handled it perfectly. Either we have a nation or we don't. Boom. Dropped a legal hammer. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott didn't wait for permission. He basically told Trump, I got but have these troops ready to roll. Abbott said, either you protect federal workers, or step aside and you let Texas handle it. And it does Texas style for real done playing games. But then comes Chicago, the city that never misses a chance to surprise you. Reports say police officers were told not to help federal agents during violent riots. Yes, you heard that right, not to help. The fraternal order if police the national and the Illinois branches called it unthinkable. When an officer calls for backup, they say, you show up, period. Chicago PD quickly tried to clean it up, calling it misinformation. But leaked radio dispatches told another story. Officers were told to stand down while ICE agents fought alone. So the Fox News side what everyone was thinking. You can deny it all you want, but wait so it cops stood down. Here's how bad it got. ICE agents had their communication jammed, were boxed in by rioters, and they had to fight their way out on foot. Cops watching, unable to move. Why? Because city leaders were more afraid of bad press than bad guys. And the spark hit hard one host side. This is like the Marines refusing to help the army. You can pick and choose which bad you stand with. When someone yells, Sributiga Pultiga officer needs help, you go. That's the code. Boo stands with boo. Always. But politicians changed the rules. They turned loyalty into liability. And guess what? The cops themselves leaked a screenshot showing city leaders ordering them to stand down. To separate incidents, weapons thrown both could have turned deadly. Now jump at the arrogant the chaos hockey. A Trump appointed judge blocked Oregon's own National Guard from helping out. So Trump said, fine, I'll send troops from California. Andy then Gavin Newsom stepped in again. Oh no more you don't, Mr. President. Andy sued him. The judge sided with Newsom, saying no more National Guard in Portland. She claimed local law enforcement could handle it, except they were literally told not to handle it. Meanwhile, the White House said Trump was just using his legal authority to protect federal property. Does his job protect people, protect the country? But Democrats hit the Sunday talk shows pretending this was some authoritarian overreach. They said ICE shouldn't be arresting illegals and the GAT shouldn't be deployed. So here's the question nobody's asking. If the president can defend federal officers, who can? Because right now, it looks like we've got 50 mini countries is playing politics while cities burn. And you wonder why people have lost faith. Well, and the order isn't supposed to be optional. Back in 2025 America, it's starting to look like a partisan privilege. When leaders celebrate chaos, don't be surprised when the country starts to crumble.
So here's what the Democrats were saying on the Sunday shows, and buckle up, because it's peak political gymnastics. They were arguing that ICE shouldn't be out there arresting illegal immigrants. And of course they hated the idea of the National Guard coming in to help. According to them, sending troops to protect federal buildings is authoritarian. But letting rioters torch courthouses, that's apparently freedom of expression. Make it make sense. You had Democrat after Democrat spinning the same line. This is an abuse of power. This is Trump playing politics. Meanwhile, the same people were totally fine when those same guard units were used during hurricanes, border crises, or even pride parades. One Fox host cut through it all. They re not mad because the guard is coming. They re mad because the death's working. That's the line right there. Every time the streets start to calm down, someone in politics hits the panic button because peace doesn't trend. Now think about this. While politicians are arguing semantics, ICE agents are dodging bricks. Federal buildings have been vandalized, cars torched, American flags ripped down. But hey, Oregon officials said it's under control. Really, if that's control, I don't want to see chaos. And that S. The crazy part, the same leaders preaching law and order during elections are now saying, stand down when the mob shows up. They say, we don't need help. Well, guess what? You do. Because your city looks like a war zone. The White House spokesperson, Abigail Jackson, doubled down. The President S doing exactly what the law allows, protecting federal workers and federal property. That's her quote, and she's right. It's not political, it's presidential, but the Democrats keep playing the same broken record. He's sending troops for optics. He's staging a photo op. Meanwhile, the people who actually live there, the small business owners, the families, the police, they're saying, thank God someone's finally doing something. You can feel the split. One side wants order. The other side wants optics. And that is what is killing America right now. We've turned safety into a partisan debate. One Fox host said it perfectly. It's a strange new world when protecting your own citizens requires a court order. And that's the real punchline, isn't it? A judge can block the president from defending federal agents, but no one can block the chaos that follows. At the end of the day, Trump's position is simple. You can protest all you want, but you can't burn your own country down. But that message somehow is controversial now. And if that doesn't tell you how upside down everything's gotten, I don't know what will. Listen, this part's wild. Democrats hit the Sunday shows swinging. Senator Chuck Schumer said, sending ICE into cities is authoritarian. We don't need troops on our streets. Meanwhile, AOC jumped on X to praise the anti-ICE protesters, calling them justice fighters. Justice fighters. They're throwing firebombs at federal buildings, not passing out sandwiches. And that's the moment the spin became comedy. Because, in Portland, the so-called peaceful protests looked like a scene from The Purge. Flames lighting up the sky, ICE officers getting pelted with glass bottles. Federal courthouses tagged with no borders, no nation. That's not free speech, that's organized anarchy. The videos don't lie. Mobs burning flags, chanting down with the feds. But if you watch certain media outlets, you'd think it was a summer music festival. Mostly peaceful, they said. As the flames hit 20 feet high, Fox's host cut straight to it. This isn't protest anymore. It's a coordinated attack on the federal government. And he's right. when you start targeting ICE DHS and the Justice Department. That is not dissent. That's insurrection in slow motion. The White House's Abigail Jackson said it plainly. When people throw rocks and burn property, they're not protesters. They're criminals. The president has both the right and the duty to protect federal officers. Boom. Case closed. But the Oregon judge didn't see it that way. She said there's no reason to believe local authorities can't handle it. Really? Because every video shows police just standing there, told to stand down again. And here's the kicker. Those same politicians who scream law and order. Every election suddenly forgot what those words mean. Apparently, law and order is offensive now, especially if it comes from Trump. Let's be real. If this were happening under a Democrat president, you'd have the same people demanding federal troops tomorrow morning. But when Trump does it, it's fascism. Funny how that works. One Fox host summed it up perfectly. We reliving in an upside-down world where burning a flag is political expression, but defending one is abuse of power. And that's it. That's America 2025. In a nutshell, the people who shout justice are setting fires, and the ones putting those fires out are the ones getting sued. Welcome to modern politics, where chaos is activism and order is the enemy.
All right, let us bring in the experts. Criminal defense attorney Donna Ratuno and former inmate turned prison consultant Larry Levine. These two don't hold back. Donna Ratuno hits hard. This isn't just about law, it's about principle. If a judge can block a president from protecting federal officers, that's not checks and balances anymore. That's political interference dressed up as justice. At some point, it stops being law and starts being theater, and everyone's paying to watch the show. Larry Levine, who actually did time behind bars, jumps in. I've been on the inside. When the feds lose the ability to protect their own, the streets get more dangerous, not just for cops, but for everybody. And that's the truth nobody in Washington wants to admit. When cops are scared to act, chaos moves in to fill the vacuum. And who suffers first? The regular people, no bodyguards, no motorcades, no safety net. Donna's right again. When courts start blocking law enforcement, that's not justice. That's politics in a robe. Rulings that sound more like campaign speeches than legal opinions. And that's the real question. Can Americans still believe the system will keep them safe? Because from Portland to Chicago, they're not seeing democracy in action. They're seeing police ordered to stand down, judges blocking enforcement, and politicians tweeting victory laps while their cities burn. Larry Levin closes it perfectly. Law enforcement doesn't work on party lines. Once you start picking which laws to enforce, you've already lost control. You don't get to choose which laws to follow, just like you don't get to choose which fires to put out. You either run a country or you don't. When the law bends to please politics, America breaks. It's not just Portland, it's the precedent. Once the law becomes optional, you don't have a nation. You have a suggestion box.
In Chicago. And this is what Trump wants to do, right? He wants to intimidate the people of Chicago. That's not going to happen.
What ICE is doing, by the way, is completely un-American, disgraceful, and patriotic. Governor Pritzker rightly refused Trump's demand that he call up the National Guard. And now Trump is calling up the National Guard anyway. And that is a provocation. That is a stunt meant to basically provoke an escalation.
They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago. If they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do, they need to get the heck out.
This is pretty insane. In Portland, they're flat out denying reality. We're talking about roughly 100 days of unrest right outside those federal buildings. The president looks at that and says, enough. I'm not going to sit here and watch this happen again in front of an ICE building. No one's coming to help. The Portland police chief just wrote an editorial bragging about how proud she is of the protesters, instead of saying, I'm embarrassed I can't use my officers to help other officers who happen to be ICE units. That's completely backwards. These problems have been allowed to fester, and now he's going to solve them because the people in charge want to solve their own. They're using the chaos as an opportunity to go after Trump. Pritzker's angling for a presidential run. The mayor's desperate just to crawl into double-digit approval ratings. And Portland? It's a national embarrassment. When Democrats say this is a stunt or that the president is provoking escalation, that's absolutely false. Talk to ICE agents, they'll tell you attacks are up 1,000%. They're being followed home. They're being doxxed. And Governor Kristi Noem told us specifically what's happening. Listen.
They're making plans to ambush them and to kill them. We have specific officers and agents that have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them. They've released their pictures. They've sent them between their networks, and it's an extremely dangerous situation and unprecedented. So we've put protective detail around those individuals, changed some of our operations to keep our officers safe. But make no mistake, this isn't just about, protesting free speech or that they don't like that people out here are upholding the law of our country. They're actually going out there and saying, kill these people and we'll give you this much money to do it.
One thing straight. When all this chaos blows up, the local cops won't be showing up. They're standing down while federal officers have bounties on their heads. You've got snipers sitting on rooftops and assaults on law enforcement up more than 1,000%. That's not a protest. That's a battlefield. These agents are out there alone. No backup, no guard, no support, just politics getting in the way. And when the unthinkable happens, when one of our officers gets killed, everyone who stood by will share the blame. The judges who refuse to act. The politicians who fanned the flames instead of cooling them down. The city leaders who tied their own cops' hands and called it justice. When criminals own the streets and the good guys are told to stay in their cars, it's not law enforcement anymore, it's surrender. And the next headline won't be about protests. It'll be about a funeral. The Secretary of War even broke a record, the most people doing push-ups at once. Guinness might need a new category, patriotism under pressure. And the president's speech? Short, sharp, and straight to the point. He said it's time to rebuild, and he's not talking about slogans. America needs ships. Real ships. We're licensing yards overseas and letting other nations fill the gaps we used to own. That has to change. We still lead under the sea with submarines, but on the surface, we've fallen behind. So he's pulling old ships out of mothballs, and even teaming up with Japan as shipbuilders to restart production here at home. Because while we debate, China's building at breakneck speed. If we don't catch up, we'll be watching from the dock while they control the waves. He also promised pay raises for U.S. service members and called out Democrats for dragging the government into shutdown fights. But he told the troops straight, you'll still get paid. Every last penny. And that right there, that's leadership. No party lines, no politics. Just the president reminding us why the Navy and the nation it protects still deserve our pride. It was a good day to be an American. 15 minutes past the hour, and we re-heading overseas now with a Fox News alert. Negotiators in Egypt are back at the table, trying to hammer out peace talks between Israel and Hamas. President Trump is turning up the pressure, urging all sides to move fast, warning that every delay risks another round of bloodshed. Steve Harrigan's live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Steve, good morning. Morning, Lawrence. The president's making it clear. Time is running out. He's told both sides that the release of hostages could come within days, but only if the talks don't stall. In his words, speed is of the essence.
You've conquered raging oceans and braved ferocious storms to vanquish America's enemies on the high seas and distant shores. You've beaten mighty warships into twisted wrecks of steel. You've splintered vast armadas and sent the mangled pride of empire sinking into oblivion. You've surged the waters thick and danger, blood, brine, and through it all, the United States Navy has kept the stars and stripes soaring high and proud above those big, magnificent waves. You love doing it too. The American sailor never quits, never fails, and never, ever lets us down. They've never let us down.
You can tell he loves being out there with the troops, and they love him right back. The energy was real. He laughed, shook hands, even did his little dance. Melania was glowing the whole time. The Secretary of War was there. The Navy lined the deck, flags everywhere, a full-on salute to the people who still keep this country standing. I wasn't there in person, stuck on the road for about an hour each way, just listening. But even through the radio, you could feel it. The pride, the music, the roar of the crowd. It moved the First Lady too. And honestly, she's been on fire this term. She's found her voice, she knows the kind of influence she has, and she's owning it. That moment on deck, the cheers, the unity, the patriotism, it wasn't staged. It was real America. And while Portland keeps spiraling, there's actually a place doing it right, Memphis. There, you've got a governor working with a Democratic mayor who finally gets it. He's not pretending crime's a myth. He knows the city's drowning in it. And that's called cooperation. Because it's not just about Elon Musk showing up and building a shiny new factory. You can't build prosperity on chaos. They've got the FBI there. The governor's in sync with local law enforcement. That's how it is supposed to work. Meanwhile, other cities are rooting for anarchy. And that's the scary part. I saw a governor come out and claim that ICE is targeting black and brown people. Really? They're looking for illegal immigrants. That's literally the job description. Think back 3 years ago. Airports packed with people sleeping on the floors because the border was wide open. Millions crossing, nobody checking who they were. And no, not everyone is a criminal, but here's the truth. We don't know who is who, that's the problem. Now, after years of Biden's border disaster, ICE is trying to clean it up, and suddenly that's controversial? Give me a break. Picture this. If those same riots and camps were right outside your house, if your kids had to walk past burning trash just to get to school, wouldn't you want the National Guard to step in and clean it up? Of course you would. 100 days of chaos? Enough. Let the president send in the Guard and take the streets back. It worked in DC, it's working in Memphis. Check the stats. And speaking of leadership, yesterday, the president was on the USS George H.W. Bush, celebrating the Navy's 250th anniversary. He was fired up. 10,000 sailors cheering, Millennium by his side. It was pure Americana. And as our country heads toward its own 250th next 4th of July, the message couldn't be clearer. Strength, resilience, and pride still matter. Listen to the president, you can hear it in his voice.
The countries of the world, a lot of the countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslim, Arab, and many others, have had great meetings with Hamas, and it looks like it's working. So we'll wait for a little while, see how it all turns out.
Will the administration end fire?
It worked very, very quickly. I think it's going to go very quickly. The meetings seem to be very good. We'll find out. We'll let you know soon.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio isn't sugarcoating it. Phase 2 could be the hardest fight yet. Even if the hostages are released, the real battle starts after. Who runs Gaza when the smoke clears? It can't be Hamas. You can't rebuild peace on top of a terror group. The goal is total demobilization. Dismantle the war machine, strip out the rockets, and rebuild from the ground up. That's not a weekend project. It won't take 72 hours or 6 weeks. It'll take years, brick by brick, trust by trust. Still, this is the closest we've been to progress in years. Hamas may release 48 hostages, some alive, some not, while Israel could free up to 250 Palestinians serving life sentences, plus hundreds detained over the past 2 years. It's messy, but it's movement. And with the anniversary of the October 7th attack just a day away, pressure's through the roof. The president even picked up the phone and called Bibi. "This is great news," he said. Bibi shot back. "Not really. Hamas can't be trusted," Trump laughed. "Come on, be optimistic for once. Think big, there's no alternative. Both men are right in their own way. Trump wants peace fast. Bibi's seen this movie before. He knows how it ends when Hamas keeps the guns. Because here's the catch. Hamas says they'll store the rockets, not surrender them. Translation, they'll reload when no one's watching. So yes, a hostage deal might happen. But the real question isn't about today's exchange. It's what happens tomorrow. Who controls Gaza? Who keeps the guns? And who writes the next chapter of this never-ending war? Where it gets complicated. The president isn't just chasing a ceasefire, he's balancing the whole region. He's trying to keep the Arab and Muslim world in line with this deal. And honestly, getting that many nations to agree on anything is a miracle in itself. To Bibi's point, though, Hamas still hasn't shown one sign of surrender. Not one. And that's the reality everyone's dancing around. Jared Kushner's in Egypt. Steve Witkoff's there too. They're trying to hammer out a framework, a post-Hamas Gaza that can actually function. Rubio said it over the weekend, it can't be Hamas. But setting up a new government, rebuilding, disarming militants, that's not a press release project. That's years of work. And Rubio's right again, these talks aren't the end of the war. They're just the start of the next chapter. Still, something strange is happening. At a time when Israel's more isolated than ever, the President of the United States is somehow the most popular leader both in the Arab world and in Israel. Just think about that. How do you get two sides that haven't agreed on anything in 1,000 years to align, even temporarily, against Hamas? Even Andrea Mitchell said over the weekend, if he pulls this off, give him the Nobel Peace Prize. That tells you how rare this moment is. And maybe, just maybe, the Middle East is ready for a reset. A lot of these governments want to build, not burn. They want economies, not explosions. Saudi Arabia is literally rewriting its school curriculum. That's not a small thing. That's generational. Yes, there's still anger. Yes, 9/11 scars remain. But something is shifting. These countries are realizing that improving people's lives beats feeding endless wars. And if economic deals can move faster than the rockets, maybe there's hope after all. Right now, 7 or 8 Middle Eastern countries, including Indonesia, are backing this 20-point peace framework. We'll see if it holds. For now, the world's watching, and everyone's praying for peace. And what a rough weekend across America. In Alabama, tragedy struck near the state capitol. 2 people killed, at least a dozen others hurt, after an argument turned into chaos. Police say a 17-year-old boy and a 43-year-old woman lost their lives when shots erupted, and once the bullets started flying, more guns came out. At least 7 of the victims are under 20. No arrests yet, and there is a $50,000 reward on the table for anyone who knows who pulled the trigger. Meanwhile, in D.C., a scandal of a different kind. According to the Washington Post, some police officers say their bosses have been downgrading serious crimes, turning assaults into disturbances, robberies into lost property, just to make the numbers look cleaner. It's the kind of political spin you usually expect from campaign ads, not from crime reports. Now the Trump administration says it is investigating whether the city has been cooking the books on public safety. And speaking of Washington, the government shutdown just hit day 6. The White House warns layoffs could come soon if Congress can't cut a deal. The message is clear: if the Democrats won't negotiate, pink slips are coming. Still, aides say there's hope for a restart this week if cooler heads prevail. The Senate's planning another vote, but the House? They've already packed it up for the week. Now let's talk football, because America might be divided politically, but it always unites on Sunday. The New England Patriots snapped the Buffalo Bills' perfect record, holding on 23-20. The Eagles fell for the first time, losing to the Broncos 21-17. And a couple of teams finally remembered how to win. Titans edged the Cardinals 22-21, and the Saints crushed the Giants 26-14. That leaves exactly one team still winless: the New York Jets. Sorry, New York. It's been a rough weekend all around. The Yankees got slammed 13-7, though technically they're still alive. They've got one more game, maybe redemption, maybe heartbreak. And yes, everyone's joking that losing to Canada just makes us madder at Canada. At least the Cowboys pulled through. Some of us just need anything, on the scoreboard. And hey, if you're from the South, you know football isn't just a sport. It's a religion. Friday is high school ball, Saturday is college, Sunday is church, and if your preacher's smart, he wraps it up before kickoff. That's America for you. Faith, football, and a whole lot of opinion in between. And that's America this week, where Portland's on fire. Hamas is negotiating peace, and Congress is negotiating their lunch breaks. Judges are blocking the president. The president's calling Bibi, and Bibi's calling his therapist. Meanwhile, half the country's fighting about inflation. The other half's fighting about football, and somehow the Jets still lost. It's like watching a reality show that forgot it wasn't supposed to be real. So hit subscribe, folks, because here at Coco News, we watch the circus so you don't have to.